and everyone went to different hospitals.
It was bedlam when we got there. It was turmoil. These boys were shot in the back. They were moaning and groaning. The doctor was trying to get to all of them. The nurses were working. And we were flying around getting supplies for them, for those that were attending the sick. It was pretty bad that day. Very bad.
67 people are wounded by the bullets of the police. 2 of them, John Ballore and Henry Ness, die later from their wounds. Ness is 40 years old and the father of 4 children. A few days later, tens of thousands of strikers and sympathetic citizens line the streets for the funeral of Henry Ness.
It was a real sad day for the truckers and everybody. But it was really a large funeral, the largest one I ever saw in my life.
Then came a terrible period of not frustration, but anger among the ranks. And the leaders had a problem because they were real concerned that several of the guys would want to get even with that. That was cold-blooded murder, what they done.
The events of July 20th, Bloody Friday, galvanized public opinion to the side of the strikers. Protest rallies even attracted small business owners. Fearing further violence, Governor Olson orders the National Guard into Minneapolis. For several days, the Guardsmen control the city. Whatever Olson's motives, martial law works to weaken the strike. The Guardsmen are not effective at keeping the streets closed to traffic. 10 days later, 70% of normal truck traffic is moving. The union holds a street meeting challenging martial law. In response, Olson orders the Guard to union headquarters. More than 70 strikers are arrested. Feeling betrayed by a governor they thought sympathetic to their cause, hundreds of strikers roam the streets, turning over trucks and confronting Guardsmen. The union newspaper calls for a general strike. A group of strike leaders meet with Governor Olson demanding the release of their comrades who are still under arrest. Olson complies and orders the Guard to tighten up on truck traffic and to raid the Citizens Alliance headquarters. He hopes that the raid will convince the employers to settle on an agreement already supported by the union. The employers refuse. The National Guard then steps up activities against the strikers. Guardsmen arrest the cruising pickets and send them to a stockade set up at the state fairgrounds. The strike enters its 4th week, having become a battle of wills. By now, the trucking firms are hurting. Many are anxious to agree to a settlement. But pressure from the Citizens Alliance keeps the major companies from signing an agreement. That summer, President Franklin Roosevelt visits Rochester, Minnesota. Governor Olson hurries to meet with him. They spend hours discussing the crisis in Minneapolis. The banks in Minneapolis need money from the federal government to stay in business during the Depression. And President Roosevelt uses that leverage to put pressure on the employers. But in the end, it is the persistence, solidarity, and strength of the strikers which proves too strong for the Citizens Alliance to resist. Eventually, the employers offer a compromise plan, but the strikers smell victory and reject it. On August 19, 1934, the Citizens Alliance agrees to nearly all the union's demands. The workers have won. The success of the truck strike leads to the rapid unionization of other Minneapolis industries and sparks labor organizing from Rhode Island to Washington State. Finally, in 1935, Congress takes notice and passes the National Labor Relations Act, which guarantees workers the right to bargain collectively through unions. The struggle in Minneapolis is a turning point for working people in the United States, and marks the start of a new era of fairness and prosperity in American workplaces. Many decades later, on July 20th, 1980, the Minneapolis truck strike is memorialized for the first time at a city park. More than 100 living veterans of those tumultuous days are in attendance. They are awarded medallions commemorating their participation in the strike. Today, Minnesotans no longer heat their homes with coal, but like the workers of 1934, many still struggle to make ends meet. On this street, where there once were many warehouses, there are only a few monuments to remind passers-by that what happened here transformed the city and played a decisive role in the history of organized labor in the United States. One reminder is a collection of strike photos displayed at a light rail station in downtown Minneapolis. But for many who pass the light rail station, the full history of what happened here remains unknown. That on this street, over 50 unarmed men were shot by police, and 2 of them died. The bloodstains are gone from the pavement now, and in the minds of most people, it is just another street. But labor's struggle to maintain a decent quality of life, dignity, and social justice remains.
There's more in life than just going out and getting yourself a 50-cent an hour job or a $50 a week job, depending on the wages of the times. I said there's got to be something more to this, and we have to make the workers realize that through the organized strength of unions, they can achieve a better way of life.
Taking untold millions that they never worked to earn, but without a brain and muscle, not a single wheel could turn. Not a force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one. Solidarity forever, the union makes us strong. All working people, it's time to come together. Our union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. All working people, it's time to come together. Our union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. All working people, it's time to come together. Our union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. All working people, it's time to come together. Our union makes us strong. Solidarity forever.